If you're looking at seeding down a new forage stand, and I encourage a lot of people to do that because we see the productivity improvements that are amazing. And with that comes the need, and Graham will share with you more how to keep that productivity up over time. But the fact is, it's not something that just happens overnight. Good planning goes into this. Looking at the control of weeds, choosing to go ahead and apply fertilizer applications to meet shortfalls, so that when you do go to seed, it is in fact a situation that is set for success. So I encourage people to go out there, take advantage of doing soil testing, fertilizing, weed controls prior, and then pick your spot. You're comfortable with the moisture, away you go this year. It is so critical. In all the years I've heard, we have to have a firm seed bed. Well, I swear I heard firm seed bed. I didn't hear firm before seeding. And that is the point that needs to be said. I'm sorry, if you haven't got it firm before seeding, don't try to tell me you didn't seed too deep. The reason we have 1 to 2 seedlings establishing out of 10 in a perennial forage stand is because they're seeded too deep, the soil is too soft, they die from running out of moisture. Seed to soil contact, if we've got it seed to soil contact, firm and packed, running out of moisture doesn't happen until the profile of the soil is drained. So all 3 of them relate to seed bed preparation. An environment side of it, it can be mitigated to degrees, and everybody's saying it doesn't grow if it doesn't rain is true, but it's also the worst excuse I've heard repeatedly, and I will say that's true, but we've just discussed some things that allow a seedling to draw moisture through itself around soil particles versus sucking air. So we're talking firm before seeding, pack very well. Then you go in and the scientists say a quarter, a half inch deep. That is really shallow compared to my fat farmer figures that I use when I go out there and think, oh, okay, that's about right. And not on the headlands. We're talking across a field. And so the idea of that, setting yourself up for success, when people say perennial forage stands are slow to come, so the weeds are going to be an issue. I've seen plots where scientists have planted and seen meadow brome growing in 5 days, 7 days, 11 days. How many of us see that in our own perennial forage stands at home? Well, chances are you didn't pack it well enough. You didn't seed it shallow enough. You didn't have the fertility present needed for those plants. So there's a number of reasons why you really have to pay attention to detail. And this idea that it's going to be a risk, the majority of cases we say patience. If you've done the right things right, then just be patient. If it ends up being dry, it's amazing how a forage stand will come later. And I've crawled 300 feet on the ground, my hands and knees looking for plants, not finding any. But when I asked an old mentor of mine, Harvey Yoder, he laughed and he kind of said to me, well, Grant, maybe still be patient. And I was amazed at 2 months later what patience brought me. And it was a stand that was very productive for many years. But that is only because we've done a lot of things right. And I was just waiting and it was dry. So the point of that is, do the right things right. Your forage stand is your best weed control. There are herbicides you can use. Monitor. Don't just sit back and say, my stand caught, didn't catch last year. Why? I want to be able to answer that question of why. And if I can't, I've let myself down. Because I really want to know what I did wrong. And if I did nothing wrong and the seeds didn't come, I know Graham's got a field he waited on. And it came great gangbusters the following year with moisture. The seeds are there. And if they're done right, set right, they did come later. And in countries like Oyens with current and others, you guys live by this, you know that. But the key thing to it is just getting that firm seed bed. And I actually like stubble myself, to be honest with you. If I've used glyphosate, I get stubble and then that's pretty firm. And then I've got a pretty good chance of not going in there and disturbing things and softening things up. And my little seeds can be placed shallow and I can be patient and my patience is rewarded. But it comes down to watching what you have, because you want to know if in fact wireworms are present, if in fact grasshoppers are eating seedlings. If those are reasons for non-establishment, then you know that the problem is there, the seedlings have been lost. But otherwise, be patient, they will come. The first thing I'm looking at is I'm seeing a lot of meadow brome. Meadow brome is a grazer's grass. We like it. And if I was seeing a lot of creeping red fescue, and there is some, be it probably Kentucky blue, it's not creeping red. But if there is Kentucky blue and it's the dominant species in the stand in quackgrass, then I have a different opinion on what I do with it. And I go and say, okay, I might as well start with a clean slate and get rid of the problem. Weeds, the wrong species, all are points of where you say, okay, cut our losses, let's move on. But if I got the right species to work with still, okay, how can I massage it, manipulate it?